Nobody has a perfect memory, especially not me. In the past, I had no organization system for my notes, and I take a lot of notes. Most of the time, my notes would be, oh man, where did my notebook even go? I had it to show you guys. Most of the time, my notes would be in my Moleskine notebook, but sometimes I can't read my handwriting, and most of the time, I can't even write fast enough whenever someone else is talking or whenever I'm thinking to get everything out. So I ran into this book called Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. So in this book, he presents a really simple way to organize notes for action-taking purposes. One of the things I really liked about this book is in the opening chapters, he pointed out that our brains are not for storing information, they're for thinking, for creating, for problem solving. So if our brains are busy storing information, then they're not as efficient at the thinking part, which is the important part. And I felt like he was talking directly to me. Like, oh yeah, you are storing way too much information. You need to be thinking more. Your business will move forward a little bit better. Your life will move forward, and you're gonna feel more rested. I felt like I was suffering from remembering stuff instead of taking advantage of the things that I wanted to think through and problem solve through. I am a real estate agent, but first off, I think of myself as a business owner. My husband and I run a small team in Oklahoma. This year, we'll do 35 to 40 transactions, and that's about 10 million in production. Whether you're a real estate agent or not, I think this video might be helpful for you. Definitely for business owners. I want to build videos with a euphoric message, show you my path in personal growth, all the dips and the turns, so that you might be inspired as well. My second brain system is designed to help me store information. Once I store it, then I forget it. But I have the ability to return to it later. In traditional note-taking, there is no way to search your notes, and in this system, there is a way to search your notes. This is all done electronically. So the first thing you have to do with this system is to choose an app. For instance, here is my phone. It looks kind of messy, but I actually use Notion to keep my second brain. It's not where I run my entire business. I run my business mostly out of the Engage More CRM and Asana, which is like a task management system. No one else is in my Notion. This is kind of like my journal, but my notes, and I move things in and out of here to keep myself organized. The first page that opens up whenever I open up my Notion app is going to be my commonplace book. Commonplace book is an old form of note-taking. You may have heard of it from people like Ryan Holiday.
That's how a book gets made. But I don't think you just have to do this for books. I mean, I would be engaging in this process even if I wasn't a writer, just because it helps me synthesize and organize and recall the information that I'm figuring out in my reading.
But basically, you're putting all of your notes in one place, and like other people throughout history did this by carrying a notebook with them all the time and writing down everything, all the notes that they were thinking, things that were running through their head. I know Tim Ferriss does this as well. I just keep mine electronically, and it's just the first step in building a second brain system. One of the things I make sure to do is keep my commonplace book incredibly messy. I find this helps me to take better notes, and it helps me to stay away from perfectionism, which I have a struggle with. One of the most difficult things for me in this system was learning what to take notes on. So here's what I take notes on: things that surprise me and things that I want to take action on. To be sure, I always have my Notion app handy. I make sure that it's on the front page of my Apple phone. So you can see my Notion app here and where I keep it. And I don't move it around because otherwise I will click on something else. Let me show you what this looks like on my computer so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, so here is my commonplace book. Now, I put everything in here. So I'm dealing with TRRs, which is a repair list for real estate. I'm dealing with different things like negotiations. I put, like, if I need to schedule a doctor's appointment, I'll put that note in here. Anything that I'm taking from classes, like anything that I may need to want to take action on or put it somewhere else later, it goes in my commonplace book. So this is Notion. Now, I am not sponsored by Notion. I don't care if you use their system or not. Like, you can literally use this with like Google Docs if you want to. You could use it with the Notes app and iPhone. Like, I don't care. You can use it with Notability. Like, no one is paying me to talk about Notion, so it doesn't matter to me what you use. I like Notion because it looks better than most things, and it does sync across platforms, which is absolutely necessary for this system to work, meaning that you have to have it on your phone and your computer or your iPad or whatever you use. And yes, I will take like paper notes and then move them into my commonplace book if I need to. I do that a lot. Right now, my commonplace book is pretty cleaned up because I cleaned it up last week. So once a week or once a month or once every 3 months, depending on what I'm doing, I'll go through this thing and clean it up. And here's how I do that. All the notes I have in this thing, I read through them and then move them to actionable places. So let me show you what that looks like. If you remember me saying this should be messy, like it doesn't have to be bullet points, it doesn't have to be a list, like it just has to be notes that you are taking for yourself. All right, so let's move my notes so that you can see how I do this. So at the top of my commonplace book, I have a brain because it's my second brain, like I said, and then the words commonplace book. So it's always the first thing that opens up in my Notion. So then I have all these things underneath it, which are actionable lists or things that I'm working on in my business. Now, whenever Tiago goes through this in his book, which you can totally read the book, but honestly, like I learned most of this from other people's videos and then adapted it because I'm a realtor and that's what I do. So that's why I wanted to show you this. One of the things I have in here is house organization. So I put things in here, like if I have 20 minutes one day and I need to like do something in my house, then, you know, I can go through here and do one of these things. I have like lists of things in here that I need, like projects I need to do for the house. I have the master tax list. That's what I have in my house organization. So there's a bunch of different things like this. So let me just show you how I move this around. So the top here, this says I am closing 5 more $500,000 buyers this year, and I'm closing 5 more 250,000 plus listings this year. This is a goal that I have for myself. So a lot of times my choice is like I can either leave this here, or sometimes I actually make like something to put it in my iPhone so that I open it up every time I look at it. But right now I've been leaving it at the top of my commonplace book because it's something that I'm really focused on, and that has helped me a lot in the past few weeks for sure. So this next thing that I have here is something I wrote at night. So I have anxiety. Some of you guys have watched my other videos and understand that that's something that's really hard for me. I am on meds for that. I go to therapy, etc. So this is a note that I took while I was, you know, like kind of having an anxious moment the other night. So I'm going to take this and move it into my therapy / journal. So what I do with that is, of course, I can look through it and see like notes I've taken in the past, see if I felt a certain way before, and then also in therapy, like go back through and see if there's anything I want to talk through with my therapist. So in Notion, the way that you do this is you click all these little dots and then you say move to, and then you're going to move it to your therapy / journal. That's it. Super easy. And then building a second brain realtor edition. So that was the note for this particular video because I knew I wanted to make this video. So I have my video content in here. So it's called Maria YT content or MB YT content. So some of you know that I have another YouTube channel for my real estate business. So for MBYT content, this is like all the videos that I've either done or am working on. You can see it right here that it's already in here. So basically I just did not move it out of my commonplace book like I should have. So right now I am working on this particular video. So this can just be deleted. Easy. This was a list I started working on to like streamline my offer making process, and I clearly did not finish the list. So this is an action item, and so I'm going to, so here's where I'm like getting to decide where this action point is going. So I need this list, and I need it probably in Notion, but I need the list from the contracts. So I'm actually going to take the stuff from the contracts and like make a list of everything I need to talk to a buyer about as we're writing a contract. And one of the reasons that I'm doing that is because I want to hire someone else soon, and they need to do things the same way that I do them. So this I'm going to put in an email to my assistant, and that way next week we can work on it. Now if you don't have an assistant, that's fine. You can put an email to yourself. You can put it in your task list. You can make a task list in this Notion system. I keep mine in another system called Asana because this is like all my private stuff, but you can do it wherever you want. If you have a CRM and that's where you're doing all of your tasks, then put it in there. If you have it on a notebook, that's fine too. Whatever needs to happen so that you can actually get it done. So I am just gonna go over here and write an email to her saying that we need to work on this list. Okay, that's it. And then so now that that is on an action-based item and I have accountability because I told my assistant, then I delete it. That's how that works. This note, I have no idea what this note is. Literally no clue at all. It doesn't even have a month on it, so I'm just gonna delete that. This note was me working out some negotiation for a buyer, so just that's going away. This note is because me and my husband are going to Southeast Asia and I needed to make sure we had enough passport pages in our book and each passport so that, you know, we could actually get into the countries. And we did. I already checked that, so that gets deleted. This is something that I texted to a client, so I'll write it out in here first, and that's deleted because I don't need it anymore. This is notes from a lead I believe I got yesterday, and I think I'm going to go ahead and delete it because I already moved this to my CRM, my contact relationship manager. So if I don't already have it moved, then I'll either go and move this into that myself, or I'll email it to my assistant and she'll put it in for me. But I know I already did that, so it gets deleted. This is more notes from another client that I got yesterday, and yeah, that's deleted. So now I have 2 more notes left. So this is make appointment for Vichy shower. If you don't know what a Vichy shower is, you should look it up because I love it so much. But it's basically like a lymphatic drainage shower, and I need to make an appointment for next month for that. So right now I'm gonna pick up my phone and call the place that I need to call in order to make the appointment for next month so I don't forget. Okay, next I have shorts for Dopamine Nation. So Dopamine Nation is a book that I finished yesterday. I know that I want to do 2 to 3 shorts on that. So I'm gonna go over here. Shorts are like a reel or something, you know? So content, I'm making content for that. So I'm going to put this here. And shorts for Dopamine Nation, I have that in there, and now I can split that into however many I want. And in here, I'll just show you this really quick so that you can love the system as much as I do. But I have like a talking head video outline that I use. It's gonna take a minute, there we go. So this is how I go ahead and produce a short video so that I don't have to think about any of the steps. So that was a kind of watered down version of the system. There's a lot of stuff that Tiago goes into for creating your second brain system. This is what works for me. It's extremely simple. It isn't on paper, so I can keep track of it easily. It's across devices. This is all really important to me as a business owner and just as a human. If you have more questions about this, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to try to answer them for you. If you like this video and it's been really helpful for you, go ahead and click that thumbs up so that more people will see this video. Thanks so much for watching, and definitely try to watch this video next.